My name is Madison Barra, and welcome to my podcast, where it's all about teaching you how to lose weight, keep it off, and actually enjoy the process. I've lost over 70 pounds, and these are the failures and lessons I've learned along the way. Hope you enjoy and subscribe. I would like to talk about, or I guess I would like to get really vulnerable and raw with you. I get a lot of women asking me, how did I lose weight? How did I overcome everything? And it seems like because I've kind of made it, I've made it to the end of the rainbow, I've made it to the top of the mountain, people think that I'm untouchable, or they think that I'm so far above them. And that's just not the case. So what I want to do today is I just want to share about 4 really bad habits that I used to have with food. And they are very bad, or not bad. I don't like calling them and labeling them bad. They were just very damaging. They weren't serving me. And by sharing them, I want to show that I am human. I want you to know that I struggled a lot and severely. And if that's where I came from and now I'm here, I want to give you the hope that you can even surpass me. That's my goal with this call. So first thing I want to talk about is I used to hide eating. I'm not sure if you've ever done that before. Snuck food, hid in the pantry late at night. You keep food in your desk, your drawers. Maybe when someone's not looking, you take an extra bite that you shouldn't. Something like that. I was really good at it. I was really good at hiding what I ate. Nobody saw it, but I got to eat everything I wanted. Late at night, I made sure as I walked down the stairs, I knew which step would make a noise and which wouldn't, so no one would wake up. I knew, to bring my phone flashlight so I didn't turn on the lights. I knew what bag crinkled and made noise versus which one didn't. I knew which food was easy to grab fast and which one would take too long. I could tell who was coming down the stairs based on their feet pressure, so I could pause and wait for them to go. Like I was like a spy. I was a level spy on this. It's crazy. I would hide in the pantry, and I would hide because I didn't really recognize this at the time, but I would hide because I knew it wasn't right. I knew it was silly. I knew I didn't need this food. I was ashamed. I didn't want anybody to see how much I ate. And why did I want to eat it? Why was I so compelled to have to eat it? And so I hid. There was a lot of hiding and eating and running while I was hiding from the eating, running away really quick so no one could see that I did it. And it was very bad. Clearly, based on how I described it, it was not very good. And now my rule of thumb is I don't hide food at all. If I'm in one of those moods, if I can't snap myself out of it, I say, it doesn't matter. I am never hiding it again. I will eat it. Even if I know I shouldn't be eating it, I'm going to eat it in front of somebody because I can't feel that shame anymore. I can't feel that embarrassment. If I'm going to do it in private, I'm going to do it in public, and I'm going to face it because, even though you're the one doing it, when you're doing it in private and hiding it, you're not really facing it. Right? You're not really facing it. The reason you don't want someone to see you is because you think they're judging you and you know that it's wrong. So my one rule of thumb now is, if I'm in that mood, if I get in that zone and I feel myself wanting to eat something and hide, I just say, nope, you're allowed to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, as much as you want, but it's gotta be in a public area. If someone sees you, awesome, great. If they don't, awesome, great. But I'm going to be in an area where they could potentially see me. That's how I got out of it. Now I don't have that problem anymore. Now I don't feel like hiding food or hiding what I eat because I am proud of what I eat and I'm proud of how I eat and my habits and what I've overcome, especially with how, looking back, it's so silly. It's so silly. That's how wrapped up I was. No one cared. No one cared, but I did. I was judging me. And so that was kind of habit number 1 that I had a really hard time breaking. It didn't go away overnight. It just happened less and less frequent. And over time, I realized I didn't have to do it anymore because I wasn't ashamed. Even though I did make mistakes and I wasn't perfect, I knew that I was getting better. And I knew that I was just at the end of the day trying. And that helped me be able to not have to feel so ashamed that I had to hide it from everybody. So that was one thing that I really battled. And you can ask my husband, you can ask Coach Ryan. He knows that. I used to sneak things all the time. And I've overcome it. So if that's something you suffer from or you struggle with, you can too. Even if it's not as severe as me, right? Like that, I'm painting a crazy picture, I know. But even if it's not as crazy as that, even if it's just a little extra bite here or there that you hope someone doesn't turn around and catch you, even that's not healthy. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, here we go. I'm just bearing it all here. Next thing is, I don't know how to say this other than I ate food out of the garbage. I would get in these extreme moods, like these all or nothing mentality where I was either super healthy, nothing can stop me, get away from me with your unhealthy habits, throw out all the food, throw it out, you can't bring it in the house, we're not eating out. And then I would switch to, oh my goodness, we're going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner out. I got to order, Uber Eats and eat some ice cream in front of the TV while I watch my show and then wash it down with some freaking chips and popcorn and cookie dough and all that. So I had, for a very long time, I juggled in these extremes, like really on point or really off point, right? And when I would get in these extremes of extreme health, I would throw everything out, throw it all in the freezer, right? But then sometimes I would flip right back into my extreme of unhealthy the very next day, or even that day sometimes. It was just really uncontrollable at that time. And I'm like, well, healthy me made some decisions. Unhealthy me doesn't want to follow those decisions. And the food's still in the garbage. I haven't taken it out yet. So I went back in the garbage. I didn't eat literal garbage. It was still in the package and I pulled it back out and I would eat it. I went in the garbage, pulled back out the packages, and I'd eat the cookies, or I'd eat the chips, or I'd eat the chocolates that I threw away, thinking that it was finally gonna be the time. I figured it out and I stuck to something and I wasn't tempted and my cravings magically would go away. But I literally rummaged through the garbage to pull it back out on multiple occasions. I had this impulse, this urge, this compulsion to just eat. Whether I was stressed, emotional, bored, just made me feel good. And I didn't know how to not do that. I didn't know how to cope without it. And so that's where I went and that's what I did. And in order to get over that one, what I had to do was I had to, instead of throwing the package out, I had to open up the package, throw water in it, and then throw it out. So it was inedible. I had to go that far. When I bought a pack of cookies and I just wanted one, I ate the one, and then I put water on the rest and threw them out. It helped me with my portion control. It helped me break the habit because all you have to do is prove to yourself once that you don't have to fulfill the same patterns again and again. And I know that's a really extreme, crazy solution, but it worked. It built distance from me in that habit. And that's what I needed to prove mentally to myself, that I wasn't a slave to it, right? Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. Is it extreme? Sure. But it built distance between me and that unwanted habit. And because of that distance, it gave me time and space to realize I didn't have to surrender every time. And now, obviously, I don't have to do that. Now I can keep food in the house. Now I can stop myself after 1 or 2 bites. Now I have that because I was able to give myself distance between those habits. So that's kind of habit number 2 that I struggled with, and that's absolutely crazy. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you've been there too. Maybe you picked one little thing out, it was just staring at you. It was looking good, maybe in the recycling bin, maybe in the garbage. Definitely something that was embarrassing and hard to admit at first, but I'm not ashamed of it because it's helped me become who I am, and who I am is able to help a lot of women because of the crazy, embarrassing, disgusting things I did. So that's number 2. Now, habit number 3. This is also something that is blows my mind thinking about how much I did this. When Ryan and I owned our gym, we had to be at the gym from like 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. And we were there all day, every day. And we didn't know what we were doing. We were really young. It was our first business. We wanted to help clients. We didn't know how to grow a business. We had crazy amount of bills for 2 young 20-year-olds. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, but we were trying. And so we were gaining weight like crazy. We weren't prepping our meals. We were not getting good sleep. We were staying up really late. We were just like zombies going through the motions, trying to get through the day and make our dreams come true. Now, while we were trying to make our dreams come true, we ended up in a lot of drive-throughs because we were hungry and tired and we weren't prepared. So we ended up in a lot of drive-throughs, so much so that probably for a year straight, we did a drive-through 3 times a day. We did about McDonald's for breakfast. We do, sausage, egg, McMuffin with some hash browns and a muffin. Or maybe we do Tim Hortons and I get a farmer's breakfast wrap. I remember because I got so many of them. I remember my orders. And we'd go through a drive-through to grab breakfast before I teach the 6 a.m. class. And then I would, I'd get excited to wake up to go eat. And then when lunch would come, I'd get excited for my break to go eat. And usually lunch would be like A&W burger and fries or chicken strips and onion rings, right? Also not great, fast, easy food. And then I'd wait for my day to be over because I couldn't wait. And normally at nighttime, we'd normally go get butter chicken together, or we'd end up getting pizza. And we didn't just get a slice of pizza, ladies. Let me tell you, we both got a medium pizza each. I was eating the same, if not more than my 200+ pound husband. And I felt okay with that. As long as I didn't eat more than him, I still felt good. I didn't feel bad about it. I ate exactly what he was eating. And his metabolism is like 2,000 calories higher than mine. So I should be eating nowhere near what he was eating, but I was. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner came from a drive-through for probably a year and a half straight. And I felt gross. I felt disgusting. My body was aching. My body was swollen. It was always stuffed. I was very lethargic. I needed to nap all the time. I wasn't getting any of the right nutrients. It was not a good time for my health. And specifically how I actually felt, not just looked. And that is when I gained the most weight. When I did that, I gained about 50 pounds in 1 year from doing that. And so that was just me being in one of those extremes again. And so basically to kind of get out of that, what I had to do was I had to prioritize my sleep. I had to prioritize a schedule. So the easiest way to do that is just pick eating times. Pick eating times to start, right? I'm going to eat breakfast at this time, lunch at this time, dinner around this time. That's the easiest place to start. Build a schedule into whatever craziness you got going on. And then instead of cutting it out completely, I just tried to make better decisions in the drive-thru, right? And sometimes, instead of getting a bagel with cream cheese at Tim's, you can get a yogurt parfait, right? That's a healthy decision. Or even sometimes if you can't muster up that willpower, what you could do if you normally get, a bagel with cream cheese, a donut, and a French vanilla. Let's just say you get a black coffee and just a bagel. No French vanilla and no donut, right? There's lots of different ways around it. That's how I handled that one. I just tried to break the pattern. Just tried to break the pattern, make it look slightly different. So I didn't feel like I had no willpower to do the thing. Right? Because for me, these patterns were so ingrained. I did this one, the drive-through gang. We did the drive-through habit for over a year and a half. So we became very good at it and very automatic at it. So it was very hard to not do because we did it for so long. So instead of saying I'm going to go cold turkey and cut it out completely, we just kind of weaned off of it. And then it became easier the longer you did it. It really becomes easier. You become less reliant, right? And so this doesn't have to necessarily apply to you in terms of drive-throughs, right? It could be the quick meal when you get home. Maybe your go-to is a peanut butter sandwich. Maybe your go-to is a handful of nuts when you get home. Maybe you end up in the drive-through every night on your way home because you're tired and don't want to make dinner, right? Whatever it is. Maybe you end up skipping lunch because you're so tired and then you overdo it at dinner. Whatever it is where you take the quick, fast option. That's when this applies. And I took the quick, fast option for a long time and I beat it. You can too. And it's not that you have to sacrifice quick and fast. There's still healthy options that are quick and fast. It's just you need to learn them and you need to be aware that you don't need to sacrifice quick and fast. There's lots of other things you can do that are just as tasty. And I think that for me was something I needed to learn as well. So I made it through that. I survived all the crazy drive-thrus. I bet that the drive-thru people knew us by name. I swear. We were there so often. Now, the last habit I want to share is purging. So throwing up. Now, I didn't intentionally make myself throw up. But what happened was I would zone out. I'd be kind of like a zombie and mindless eat. Before I knew it, I was done an entire bag of chips or an entire tub of ice cream and I just wasn't paying attention. And when I would get in those zones, I would eat so much that I was so uncomfortably full. I felt like there was food stuffed all the way to the top of my neck. And quite a few times I stuffed myself so quickly with so much food without realizing it that I actually made myself puke. My body was like, no way. My stomach's gonna burst if I don't get it out. And so I don't tell these stories to exaggerate and seem silly, although they do seem silly now and maybe a little funny to you. But like, they're crazy. Like, this is really who I was. That's really what I did. I snuck food late at night. I was in the drive-thru 3 times a week. I picked food or 3 times a day. I picked food out of the garbage and I ate so much I threw up. Ew. Ew. I'm gross. I was disgusting. What is wrong with me? Why was I so compelled and such a slave to food? And the answer was, most of the time, I wasn't present in my life. I didn't have a life that I was excited about. I didn't build things or plan things that I was looking forward to. And so as I created a beautiful life full of joy and passions and habits and hobbies and a purpose, food wasn't my purpose anymore. And I could distance myself from those habits, even just a little bit, enough to give you the hope that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's all I wanted to do today, ladies. Give you guys hope. If I can come back from that craziness and be where I am today, and if I can share it with no shame or embarrassment, you have nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of. You have nothing to feel guilty about. I promise you one day what you feel guilty about will be the very thing that makes your story exciting. Every day you are writing in your book. Every day you get to write a chapter, start a chapter, end a chapter. So if you're having a hard time, guess what? This is the most interesting part of your story that you're always going to read. This could be the climax of your book. And you're going to look back on it. I want to make sure it was really interesting, right? If everything went according to plan, that'd be a boring book to read. So sometimes when things are going to shit, you're just writing the really interesting parts of your book. You got to have those parts in your book to actually enjoy reading it and looking back on it. So, I mean, what's so crazy is I remember even talking to Ryan once, and I looked at him and I'm like, I think I have an eating disorder. I actually thought I had an eating disorder. I felt so hopeless and out of control, like I couldn't get a hold of any of this. I thought I had an eating disorder. And I didn't. Was it disordered eating? Absolutely. Did I have an eating disorder? No, I did not. There was just nobody talking about it. There is nobody talking about this stuff. Who says that? Who shares that out loud? Can't believe I just shared it out loud. It's crazy. No one shares that stuff to tell you that it's okay. And that those extremes are fixable. Not only are they just manageable, it's fixable 100% completely. Now, obviously, if you think you have an eating disorder, you should go check with your doctor. But I didn't have it. I did not. And I am here today loving my journey. And I'm not embarrassed or guilty about any of it. And I want that feeling for you. Because hope stands for hold on, pain ends. Hold on, pain ends. That's what hope stands for. So as long as you have hope, even if there is no reason you should have, no evidence you should have, and maybe all the evidence points in the opposite direction. You failed losing weight before. You always fall off your plan. You can't keep it up. Maybe if all the evidence is stacked against you, and if you look at the past and to predict your future, maybe you'll never lose the weight based on what your past has been. But as long as you have hope, hold on, pain ends. HOPE. Hold on, pain ends. You can do it. You just have to know you can do it. You don't have to know how. You don't have to know when you're going to do it. But just know that you can. Hope means hoping even when things seem hopeless. If you ever have those bouts of hopelessness, that's when you have to have the most hope. That's when you have to muster up the most hope. That's the only thing that's going to work. And so there's me, vulnerable, raw, all my crazy habits, all the things I thought that I would be stuck with forever and ashamed of and wasn't proud of that person. But I am proud of that person because that person helped me get here. That person made the decisions, whether they were crazy decisions or not, they all led me here. So I have no regrets. And I wouldn't change anything. And I hope that you can look on your journey that way as well.
If you found this podcast valuable, I hope you leave us a 5-star review. And if you want to learn more about the Fit Queen way of weight loss, visit www.fitqueen.com. Thank you for listening and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another episode.